Thank you so much for joining me on Straight Out of Savannah. And my guest is here today, and this is her second go around, so you know I'm excited. So, this is Camille St Charles, and she is going to share a little bit about who she is and what she brings to the table. So, Camille, take it away.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Camille. This is my second time on the show. I think it was the first of the year, or was it the end of last year that I
Yeah,
was
I
here?
don't even know. I think it was this year, but early. Yeah.
It was the first part of the year. And
Mhm.
I am a romantic and erotic architect. I write a series of racy stories and I do a racy podcast, but the softer aspect of me showed up and I ended up writing love stories. So that's why I'm here today to talk with you about my latest book.
Yes, and make sure that I want to see the cover. So, show them the cover right now.
My latest book is titled Coffee Fairy Tales. It's where people of a certain age, I wrote romantic love stories for them. And I wrote it during the pandemic, and it's taken 3 years to bring it to life
Yes.
because it's so intricate.
Mhm.
But uh, I had done my research. I had been talking to tons of family members and friends, and some of my family members and friends and just strangers, they had expressed to me how they believed and they felt as if love had passed them by. Love had forgotten about them, and those hopes and wishes and dreams that you make when you want to find that love, like the love that you have right now.
Yes.
People would put those desires out there, but they felt as if love had turned a deaf ear to them or turned her back on them. And these are people that are in the middle part of their lives that had either they lost love, they're divorced or widowed, or just in generalities, they felt as if love didn't call their name.
Mm.
So I sat down. I used to be a coffee vendor. And one day I sat down and God had whispered to me, what do you think about turning the coffees that you work for, the being a coffee vendor, turning the coffees into people?
Mm.
And I sat there and I started smiling and I gave that big old smile. And then I was like, so what you're saying, God, is all the flavors of the coffee from the company that I worked for, turn them into people. And God said, yes, and write romance in there. And I struggled for a minute because since I come from the world of erotica and I love sex is always on the menu for me. And it's always in my mind entertaining me. It's like dancing around, like somebody's gonna get done. So after I put those thoughts aside, a softer aspect of me showed up. And that's where my author name for this new book, Coffee Fairy Tales, came from. My author name is Lady Blue Nightingale
Oh.
because she's just the softer aspect of me, the goddess that lives in me. That's her name. So therefore, I signed her name in the book. Even though it's still Camille, I'm still Camille writing these. This is just like
It's like an alter ego.
a romantic representative that lives in me. She stepped up to the forefront and be like, look here, girl, I got it. And so
Yes.
she started writing those romantic stories. And I didn't want to write for the youth. It has nothing to do, and it's not dismissing, but people of a certain age still have those same desires and they long and they hunger for the same type of love, but they're just middle age. They have a lot more battle scars. They have a point of reference for stuff, because if you've made it to, like, let's say 35, 40, you've been through some stuff. And
Hell
so
yeah.
I decided to give the stories to people who have had their share of struggles and drama and chaos and love turning their back or denying or ignoring them. So I wrote love stories. I turned the coffees into people who are middle age, and I allowed the coffees to tell you a love story.
Mm.
Because the copy would be like, if I was a person, this is what's going on in my life.
Mm.
Even though I'm a coffee, but if I was a person, let me tell you a love story. So
Mm.
that's how it happened. And like I said, it took 3 years, but once it was born, its representatives inside the book of all people who okay, let me show you what I look like inside of the book, because I am one of the characters, but this is the romantic goddess that lives in me. This is Lady Blue Nightingale.
Oh, yes, that's very nice. I love
So,
it.
yeah, so you get to see and encounter me as I liken myself as a fairy godmother.
Mm.
I'm a fairy godmother telling you a romantic story, or I am standing on the sidelines as this romantic encounter takes place. So that's how that happened. And it has 7 different flavors, 7 different stories, 7 different people, men and women. This is one of my friends. He's in the book. He's representing one of the coffees. And
Vanilla.
I
Mm.
have 6
Yeah.
more. I have 6 more people who are inside the book because I needed their face. I knew what I wanted them to look like, but I needed a real human face to
Yeah.
seal the deal. So
Yeah.
this is another one of my friends that's one of the coffees in the book. And
Italian dark roast.
seven different stories, and the only thing is they all are coffees, but they're telling you a love story. And sometimes inside the stories they do battle with accessories, like the accessories of coffee, like sugar,
Mm. Oh,
honey,
like that.
cream, half and half, or
Yeah.
whipped cream. So all of those sweet and lows, all of those accessories that
I
we put
like
through
that.
our coffees, I turn them into people too. And so it's a event that's going on inside of each and every coffee fairy tale. And then this is a friend of mine who runs a coffee company, and I put her on the cover of the book because her story is a romantic royalty story. It's during with kings and queens and dragons and all this other stuff. But all of the characters that flow through the story are all accessories, like crystallized honey, sweet and low,
Mm.
coffee mate, all of those accessories that all of us keep,
Yes.
keep at our house for flavoring our coffee, cinnamon, nutmeg, all of that stuff. So
Yes. Oh my God. That is so amazing. So we're gonna get into how you decided that this was how it was gonna be. Like how did you pick the people and how did you decide that, you're going to make the sugar a person because that's my person. I love sugar. I battle it daily. And how did you, I mean, because it sounds so amazing. And did the people in the story that, like the picture just showed me, did they agree to be, their likeness to be in the story, or how did you have to do that?
well, actually, the stories presented themselves first. The stories, because I didn't know what I was going to have the people or the faces that represented each flavor. I didn't know what they were going to look like. I just wrote the story. And then I decided I needed a human face. But before I even go that far, when I first started writing coffee fairy tales, I still struggled because, like I said, I made you aware I come from the world of erotica and racy storytelling and vulgar language and violence. I entertain all of those things. And so my editor had said to me, I need you to think about not including sex in the stories because they need to come from a different place, a different caliber. And I got pissed off with her. I was like, dare you? I was just saying that. But then later on that night when I went to sleep, God likes talking to me at night when I'm going to sleep. Maybe it's everything's clearer and all the chaos is moved out the way.
Yeah,
But God was,
it's because your mind is open and you're not thinking about 50,000 million things,
yes,
and you it's like
yes.
your ego is shut down, it's chilling in the background and stuff like that. So God can speak to us. I'm the same way. Every night I ask for instructions and directions.
Well, that's what I received that night after I had finished, had a misunderstanding with my editor. And when I was going to sleep, God said, you know what? You already know what it's like to write about sex. You have 4 or 5 different series. You already know what it's like to do a podcast with vulgar language and sex and violence. You already know. Why don't you consider making it a love story with no sex, and no
Ooh,
violence? And
ooh.
that was a struggle for
No
me.
sex?
No, it's implied. The
Okay, all
sex
right.
is implied, like, I need you to put some sugar in my bowl. I need you to stir me up slowly, like I'm brewing up some heat and some moisture. It's implications of sex, but not sex like the world I'm used to. So it took me a while to get there because, I'm a
Yeah,
creature of habit.
of
And,
course we all are.
sex sells, and I love sex. I love
Sex is
it.
a good thing.
So therefore, in order for me to custom make and to make it all soft and sweet, I had to remove the sex, the violence, and the vulgar language because I am going for a different aspect. That's why the goddess that lives in me stepped up and she was like, put me in. She was like, put
But
me in, coach.
coach.
Yeah, put me in. She was like, tag me in. Let me do this for you. Let me show you something. And then after Camille just stepped to the back, Lady Blue Nightingale stepped up and
Mm,
started writing romance because inside of each and every coffee fairy tale, the desired destination is romance,
mm.
love. That's the desired destination. And not saying that all the characters are looking for their happy ending, but love is different inside of each and every story. But the feeling that you used to have as a youth and the things that you wanted to entertain and experience, those thoughts and feelings and dreams, wishes and hopes are still there. It's
Yep.
just you're an older person now that's got some life experiences behind you, but your mind and your heart still want the merger of love to show up. So, but love shows up in different packages. It doesn't look like, how you used to describe, like, oh, I want a guy who's dark, who's tall, who's
And
this, who's
handsome.
that.
Yeah.
That is not, that's nice to have.
But it's
But
not sustainable always.
yes,
You
because
know,
you're older and you change your outlook and your disposition and the things that make you feel secure, they change. And
yeah,
so when
absolutely.
love shows up inside of each story for each of the coffees, it's a different character. It's not what you would have thought, you know.
Right. Because the thing about it is, I think about this, just like we were talking before we came on.
Mhm.
I thought I had a type, I liked them tall, dark, and handsome. I liked them really tall. Like my first boyfriend was 6'4". I'm 5 feet tall.
Uh-huh.
you know, so I liked them like that. But you know what? That's not what I got.
That's not what you got.
I got what well, the
What
second
you
time I got
needed.
what I needed. The first time I got, some crazy thing I wanted. But yeah, and also too, you said something I wanted to talk about was love shows up differently for all of us, and we
Yes.
need love differently. Like
Yes.
the way I experience love is not the way you do. The way
Yes.
that you do is not the way Megan and Tasha do. The way, it's just
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
because we need love in a certain way. And that was one thing that when I got ready to start dating again, and I knew I wanted to get married again because I got divorced young. I asked God to send me a man that loved him so that he would show him how to love
Oh,
me in
yes.
the way that I want to be loved because
Yes.
we all love in a different way.
Yes.
So you put in those stories, especially for this, I feel like this is my age group. although I'm over 35 or 40, but I feel like this is my age group because this is the time. It's like now so many people are, looking for love at this age because maybe they had it in the past, maybe it wasn't mature enough, whatever, many reasons, but they're looking for love, and so this to me is so encouraging, and the fact that you didn't put the sex overtly in there.
Nope.
Oh my God, to me that makes it all the more just beautiful because it's like you can use your imagination.
You know what's going on because the characters are telling you let's just say out of one story, one of the characters asked another character for a kiss. And as she was somewhat stuttering and she said, I need to ask you something. And he said, well, what do you need to ask? She said, I just, she was stuttering and he said, please ask me what it is you want. She said, I just want a kiss. If you can kiss me to make me weak, to give me the vapors, to make my legs buckle, oh, it's on and popping. Oh, it's on. And that's what maturity brings to the forefront. Like, we don't have to sit there and, even though you're older, there are still things that you have to hit those points on certain things. That's a must. But
Yes.
just to get the start, to give you the proverbial kiss of life. Now, the first time you might not hit it out the park because everybody has a way that they desired to be kissed. Every
Yes.
person's different. But when
Yes.
you tell your mate, your companion, your lover, hey, you know what? I need you to kiss me with vim and vigor. I need you to pull me in or push me up against a wall or put me in a corner. All of that stuff. This is what the
I need you to
character is
freak me.
saying. I need you to just get in there and bring it. I need you to seal the deal with your mouth because your mouth is telling me secrets of things that you're revealing inside of a kiss. And so the character's like, I need you to kiss me. If you can kiss me the way I want to be kissed, the world's your oyster. I'm just waiting on you to devour me. I'm right here. And the guy was like, that's all. She was like, everything else is debatable or negotiable. But if you can kiss me, I'm yours. And he was like, well, hold on, little lady. And so he pushed her against a column that was in the floor, going up to the ceiling. And he used it he steadied her against this column. And he stepped in and he gave her the kiss of life. And she was like, when they separated, she was like, have mercy. And so, she was like, woo, yes, yes, God, yes. This is what I've been waiting on because sometimes people treat you the way they think that you want to be treated. No, the characters are like, listen, I need the romance. I want it. I desire it. If you are not the man or the woman that can answer that call for me, I'm not offended, but I'm making you aware. This is what I want. Can you give this to me? And some of the characters are saying yes, and some of them are saying no. But it's still love. It's just cloaked and dressed in a different outfit, but it's still love.
Yeah. That is, oh my God, that is so powerful. Oh, I cannot wait to read it. But it's just the thought of putting love on that. To me, it feels like putting love on display.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I'm thinking about, maybe Jordan Peele can make it into a movie.
I would love for someone to talk with me because all of the characters are so grand and regal. And this is just volume 1. Volume 2, it can be anything. Majority of the characters in my book are people of color or people that have color in them. Mm-hmm. And it's not dismissing or discounting. It's just when I wrote the story, I saw a representation of me sitting back there looking and writing. So when I actively sought out friends to represent the coffee for me, I told them all I need is I just need your face. I just need you to be the face of a flavor. And they were all eager They were like, it took a moment for a couple of them to get it, because, if you don't put on your imagination crown when you're talking to me, we're going to have a different type of conversation, because
Yes.
I need you to imagine. Could you see it? If you can see it, then it's
Yes.
there, because I
Yes.
need you to be a dreamer. I can't have you just standing on the sidelines, like, woe is me. No, we're talking about love. And love
Yes.
is the desired destination for 95% of the souls in this world. Some people claim that they don't need anybody,
That's
but the
bullshit.
majority of the people in
Mm-hmm.
this world, they want love. Now, love is going to be in a different package. It might not be in the package that you think you want, but
Right.
it's still love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an assortment of people that show up inside these romance fairy tales. And sometimes the characters, it might be Salt, but he might have a different name. He's like, I'm Salt, because, people say that be careful with salt because it looks like sugar. Even though the package, you'd never know if you're looking at salt or sugar, because they could be both in different packages. You have to apply it to the coffee and see what you get. Now, yeah, Salt shows up too. Salt be like, oh, I want to apply, or I want to get in on the act, So
Mm-hmm.
you have to always be mindful, because what looks good to you and for you might not necessarily be what's good.
I was gonna say those don't have to be the same.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
things look good to us.
Yeah.
They ain't good
Like when
for
you
us.
were younger, how you always wanted the bad boy, or how you gravitated
Um,
towards
yeah,
one.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, my ex-husband, he looked good to me, but he was not good for me.
And that's a difference. See, people of a certain age, they have a different discernment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have a
Yeah.
different, be like, nah, I've been there. Nah, I don't want to play that game anymore. I've already experienced it.
It's like, no, girl, no.
Yeah.
I know. I love to talk to younger women like
Uh-huh.
that. I'm like, oh no, girl, and I'm one of those people that I'm not gonna tell them what to do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna share my intake.
Mm-hmm.
My input. I'm going to share. I'm going to say, girl, I'm going to tell you, and you can do what you want to do, but I'm going to tell you how that worked out for me
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
somebody else I know, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so let's talk about your imagination. Now, did you have an imagination like this when you were younger? I don't mean, the erotic stuff. I'm just talking about the big, huge imagination that you have, that you work with. Was it something that you had as a child, or did you grow this as time went on? How did that show up?
It was like I put on a crown and my
Mm,
imagination just showed up. Because after, I think I had turned like 40 or 40, 50, when it was like, boom. And I was like, when it showed up and all of these little ideas and thoughts and dreams and hopes kept showing up, I was like, everybody's going to think I'm crazy, God. I was afraid to tell you what was really going on or what I
yes,
really thought about. I was afraid because, how people
I do.
to pigeonhole you and put you in a certain category and be like, how dare
Absolutely.
you? How dare you
Yes.
dream of something like that? And
Yes.
I said, but no, you have to be a person with your own personal imagination and your own crown that you can put on, because I'm not always in the imagination arena, but when I am, I'm giving tours. On the right, we have this, and on the left, we have that, and blah, blah, blah. And I need you to come along with me. And I had somebody tell me that they don't use their imagination. I say, yeah, I know.
Look,
It
look
shows.
you want to say, well, why not?
It shows. Well, I couldn't believe it when they revealed that, because I had said, what is it that you wanted to be when you were younger? And they said, nothing. I never gave it any thought. And I said, well, what's your ideal job? I don't have a job. Whatever job I'm doing, that's my job. And I said, so you've never dreamed about something for yourself?
Right.
No. And I just found that challenging. It was like a stumbling block. I was
Um, it's unimaginable, really, when you think about it. Because I
like,
thought
what?
we all, even if you were a kid and you dreamed, that you were Cinderella or, a princess or something like that or whatever. But I mean, you, I mean, how can you just not have a dream?
Those are avenues that you have to willingly explore. And if nobody's ever taught you to dream, you're missing out. Oh
Right.
my God. I've traveled all over the world in my mind. I've even traveled outside the world in my mind. So, my imagination is vast and it's never ending. It's vast. So
I'm gonna
I
tell
need
you.
you to be, I invite the reader to come along with me. And
Yeah.
we're better to fall in love than over a cup of coffee, because
Yeah.
coffee offers you a sip of the good life. And that's what we all want, a sip of the good life. And if you're going to imagine, if you're going to dream big. My mom used to always say that, dream big. You know,
I was gonna ask you that.
yeah, my mom would always tell me to dream big. My father would tell me that there is no financial stronghold in heaven. He said, so when you ask God for anything, ask for the best. He said, because my father used to be a preacher. He's no longer of this life. But he said, when you're asking for something, don't be nickel and diming God like, God, I just want to be able to pay my rent.
Yeah.
No, God, thank you for my house.
Yes.
Thank you for my house. Thank you for my fleet of cars.
Yes.
Thank you for this and that. Don't be nickel and diming. If you're going to ask. And when the dreams showed up, they showed up so big. I was like, I'm afraid to say anything because they're going to think I'm crazy.
Did you ever have the thought, well, who am I to dream like that?
Sort of, kind of. But then after I kept hearing my parents, the little mantras they would always place before me, I kept hearing them. I kept hearing them. And then I was like, well, I'm not trying to stumble or step on anybody else's dreams. These are my dreams. And I don't care. After I started taking possessions of my own dream and my own thoughts and stuff, I was like, what you think? I know who I am. And there is a place for someone like me that has a vast and assortment imagination, because I am what you call a content creator. I am not one of anything. There are lives, plural, that are dancing around in my head, and they're just waiting. Whenever the opportunity presents itself and they can step to the forefront, if everything has aligned properly, I'll let you see some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, or I'll just give you like a quick glimpse and then pull it back in, because sometimes people can't handle certain things. And I'm not trying to shock anybody. I'm just making you aware. I'm more than what you think you see.
Yes. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. Oh my God. That's what I have to say about that. So I think about the fact that, you are from Mississippi, right?
Yes.
So I think about that because, being from Georgia, I know how that can be, Southern people. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that your parents put that in you, being from the South, to me is amazing. Because a lot of times, when we're from the South, especially people of color,
Mm-hmm.
they place a lot of limitations on us.
Yes.
Oh, you can't do that, or you can't do that, or we don't do that, or all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. So I'm just appreciative of that, because to me it's like they took the limits off of you,
Mm.
and allowed you to explore.
Well, I felt as if I was standing in the shadows because I'm not the smartest one of my siblings. I'm the odd duck, so to speak. But when I
Yeah.
started dreaming, when I started dreaming, it made people look at me totally different. And when I went to a gala in July, and I revealed my book at this big red carpet gala, and it was like, let's say a couple hundred people there, and maybe 15 or 20 people of color. And my
Yeah.
book was floating around the room. And then they kept saying, well, the lady who wrote the book is at such and such table. I was at another table sitting somewhere else. And actors kept coming over and talking with me. And they were like, is that your book? The Coffee Fairy Tales? I was like, yes. You wrote that book? Yes. By yourself?
Yes.
Yes. And then
Look,
I started,
what you say, me and God?
I'm trying to figure out, what are you asking? Because sometimes people put limitations on you, and the
Yes.
imagination is just, it's out there. And if
Yes.
you can find that door to walk through, any and everything is at your disposal. So it was effortless. Once I made peace with the coffee coming to life and being a person, I was like, because people whisper when you're drinking a cup of coffee, you're whispering out an assortment of secrets out into the universe. And coffee's like, I heard you. I heard you. I know what you want. I know what you like. Let me show you what it could possibly look like inside of a story.
Mm.
Coffee, inside of each one of my coffee fairy tales, coffee is the lead character. So each coffee that steps up and talks to you is telling you a love story that involves them. So coffee's like, come on with me, let me show you something. So when I say you have to put on your imagination crown or whatever it is that
Yes.
makes you feel that you can just travel in and out of the universe mentally, do whatever you need to do, because sometimes I escape inside my stories. Sometimes they give me such life and they're so crazy. Sometimes I find myself just having conversations with some of the characters and laughing because, when they finally birthed, because when I received my book, when I got my baby, when she first showed up, I picked her up out of the box and I just took her to my heart. And I was like, thank you, God. You heard me. You heard me. And then when the people helped me put the book together, I was like, they heard me and they didn't think that I was crazy, because of the two top beverages in the world, water is number one. All over the world, doesn't make a difference. All over. Coffee is number two.
I can believe that.
The second most ingested, spent on beverage in the world.
Wait. You mean it's not wine?
No. No,
Oh,
it's
that's just
coffee.
for me.
It's coffee. You're having a moment. It's coffee. So coffee is like, well, come sit down with me and let me tell you a fairy tale. If you are of the mindset and you can follow, allow me to tell you a fairy tale titled after a coffee. Coffee fairy tales. That's how they were birthed.
That's so nice. That is
Thank
so nice.
you. Yeah.
That is so nice. Oh my God. Because I'm just thinking about all the different types of coffee that I've seen. Like I used to be a big Starbucks girl. I used to love that. I love my vanilla nut. I like the toffee, and I used to like all that kind of stuff
The
until I
drizzle, the caramel, the whipped cream,
yes,
low foam. I did all of that.
yeah,
Yes.
all of that. So are those things included also in the coffee fairy tales as well?
Yes.
Okay,
But
awesome.
there are different coffee companies inside of each story, because I didn't wish to infringe upon anyone, and mess with their trademark. So I made up coffee companies that don't exist, but in my mind, they're thriving. But they are alive and kicking inside the book. Yes.
Mm,
But, I'm a coffee aficionado. Any and every type of coffee, I've consumed it. And I know what I like, I know what I don't like, And so when I told my friends that I needed them to be the faces of the coffees, they were like, the face. I said, I need a man to be a man to sit there and take a picture. I need you to show me your strengths inside of a picture. And each coffee is different. So there's a Western inside of one of the stories. There's a
mm,
royal with castles and dragons and dungeons and, ladies and lords inside one. It's any and everything that you could possibly. It's modern day romance. It's things that are happening in that spring forward now. And then there's a dream sequence. One of the coffees is a dreamer. So you have to just sit there, secure your copy of the book, Coffee Fairy Tale, so you can discover what romance looks on a different level, what it looks like on a different level for someone who's got some battle scars, some life experiences,
Yes.
and that have a different taste for love.
Yes.
It's a different taste. It's not the rainbows and butterflies. It could be, but it's not the rainbows and butterflies that we used to dream of when we were younger.
Right.
Love is different now. Love is like, no, girl, I don't get down like that. Let me show you how and where I live. So that's how that happened.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about this publishing company.
Okay.
So where are we going forward now? So like what can we expect out of Miss Camille St. Charles next?
Well, I established a publishing company called Four Rivers in a Boot because I happened to tell the Lord I desire revenue streams coming from four rivers, like they did in the Garden of Eden. It was four rivers that flowed through the Garden of Eden. And I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say that. And I heard my father, who was a minister, who used to say it all the time. And he said, don't be nickel and diming God. When you ask God for something, ask for the best. He said, like the four rivers in the Garden of Eden. And when he said that, I was like, so I called my publishing company Four Rivers and a Boot. And the boot is the violent aspect that still lives in me, because sometimes you have to get with people where they are. And
yes, you do.
I have to bring my boot just in case I need my traction, because you never know what's going to happen. So
Absolutely.
even though I'm walking in the door with love and peace and camaraderie and friendship, I'm walking in the door with all of that. I have no weapons to harm you, but make no mistake, I am no small walk in the park. Oh, if we have to, okay. So you don't want the sweet, peaceful person. You want the boot. So that's why I called it Four Rivers in a Boot, and Four Rivers in a Boot published the book. It's under my publishing company, Four Rivers in a Boot.
I'm so excited for you. That is amazing. So are you looking at publishing other people's stuff as well? Like other people that want to do the type of writing that you do, or any type of writing, or what are you thinking in that?
I think that there's a lot more that I am going to do and that I am doing. When I finally stepped out by myself to become an LLC, I was afraid, but I was
Why?
like, well, when you look of success, sometimes the people don't look like me.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The people don't look like me. They don't have the people that walk with them to walk through other avenues and other aspects. And sometimes people keep resources and stuff to themselves. So I was afraid to show you that I am the publishing company. But then I was like, you know what? At the age that I am now, I ain't got nobody to fear. My dad is dead, babe. I don't have to be all sweet and delicate and dainty. So that's why it's Four Rivers in a Boot, because the monster that I can be is still there. Absolutely. But Lady Blue has said, well, we can just be soft and sweet, but it's still there. And all the violence and the sex and the vulgar language, still there. People become confused when they talk to me sometimes because you're so sweet. I am. I'm a loving person.
But don't get it twisted.
I don't start anything with anybody. I am that peaceful spirit, but make no mistake.
You can turn it out and shut it down when you need to.
So that's why Four Rivers and a Boot showed up, because I had so many people that kept telling me, coffee telling you a story. I don't understand. And I said, well, you're not a coffee drinker, or you've never really been in love. And love is not always about sex. Sex is a great vehicle to help usher in love, make no
Right.
mistake. But
Right.
love stands on her own.
Yeah.
She's like, girl, I don't need you. I don't need all the trappings of all that other stuff. I'm good by myself. And so that's when Four Rivers said, okay, a publishing company. Oh, anything else? And I was like, well, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but if you don't lead me, I'm good. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, when God called different folks in the Bible,
Yeah. That weren't
they weren't.
qualified.
That's
That
what I was gonna
weren't.
say. They weren't the ones that, because you look at Paul. He was persecuting, the Christians, the Sadducees and the Pharisees and all them people. And called him. Look at David. David was a hoe. David was my dude because I identify and I understand that.
King
But
Solomon.
he
All
was
those.
God's
Yep.
beloved.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? So when you think about that, it's like, all these people that run around here and, want to pump themselves up instead of
Mhm.
allowing God to raise you
Mhm.
up. You know what I mean? And it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It
So
just
it
makes
made
sense.
sense, and it rang so true for me, and it felt so good. So like I said, when I got the book and I looked at it, I just started crying because I was like, somebody heard me, you know, somebody heard me, because I have like 9 different books, and I've allowed other publishing companies to publish and represent me. Now I'm like, well, I don't know all the things that I need to do, but I'm going to just continue on. So that's just what I did. I just continued on, and I allowed the publishing aspect to show up, because it was challenging. It was challenging because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, God, but keep your arms on me. Keep my sense of humor and my mind sharp, because I have just been challenged in so many different areas that I knew that I did not possess those skills, but I just kept going. I was like, good, bad, or indifferent. And I heard one time, I don't know if it was Steve Harvey or TD Jakes. I am unclear who said it. No, or Denzel. It was Denzel Washington. He said the richest place in the world is a graveyard,
Oh yeah, many people have said that. The
because people
cemetery.
have died with their dreams
Yes.
still in them. And when he said that, I think I heard that statement like 5 or 6 years ago. It just
Hmm.
kept ringing true in my head. I was like, I don't want to die with all of this uh, creativeness in my head, because I'm afraid to let somebody else see, because I'm worrying about what they think. I don't give up about what you think. I
Hmm.
don't care. And I said, I understand, because I'm a different star. I am not like anybody else you've ever met. And once I
Absolutely.
made peace with that, and once I owned it, I had no fear or shame to offer anybody. You can't shame me with my stuff. Dude, I will be the first one to walk in the door and tell you, uh, I live that picture perfect life. Come on now. Life has happened for all of us.
Many.
So,
Especially once we get a certain age.
yes.
It's like I was talking to a friend and she's think late 40s or something. She wants to get married and all this kind of stuff. And I said, listen, I said, now let me tell you this. I said, the ages that you're looking at, unless you like, boys, unless you got the cougar thing, that's fine, whatever. I said, but unless you like children, I said, these men come with baggage.
Yeah.
They done already, a lot of them done already been married. They done already got kids and all kinds of stuff.
Grandkids. Uh-huh.
Right. I was like, so you have to keep that in mind so that when you're looking and when you're vetting, you understand that that's just a part of the damn package because that's the shit that happens. You got baggage.
Yeah.
I was like, you got baggage, so they're gonna come with baggage. So don't, get this fairy tale thing in your head about, all of that. They know they got past, they got history, and that's one thing because I notice a lot of women, I talk to a lot of women like that because all the things. And I'm like, no, they're gonna come with something, you know. Might not be like super bad or whatever, whatever. But I mean, if you're looking at a man in his 50s, more than likely he probably has already had some kids.
Yes.
Things like that. He probably already had a relationship in the past, or many, you never know. I said, so you have to, consider that when you're on this journey and this is what you're looking for, so that you don't have in your mind like when you were 20,
Yes.
and that is so real. So, moving on with this coffee fairy tales. I honestly am seeing a movie, probably because I love movies, but I am seeing a movie. I'm like, you know,
I
maybe
see a
Jordan
mini
Peele,
series.
but I
I see
think,
a mini series like
oh yeah,
on Netflix.
like Bridgerton and yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
I
so
see
Shonda
that.
Rhimes and Ava DuVernay. So Shonda
Yes.
Rhimes and Ava DuVernay, if you are watching Coffee Fairy Tales with Camille St. Charles, needs to be
Google me. You can get in touch with me. You can find
Google her.
Google me if you're truly interested. Even the guys, I send my when I am making my posts, sometimes I post Ava DuVernay and Viola Davis and Tyler Perry and Ice Cube. I tag them because I was like, I just need help.
You just need one.
I just need one because after the door is open, all of the rest of them, because someone had asked me, have you forgotten, how you used to write? I was like, I still write like that. What are you talking about? I said, oh, you believe since the softer aspect of me showed up, I've retired the other parts. No, it's a
Well,
package deal.
I
It's
was
a
gonna
package
say
deal.
you're not a one trick pony.
No, I'm not.
And that's
It's
what
a
I tell
package
people.
deal.
I'm like, I'm not a one trick pony. Yes, I do this and I also do this and I also do that. Because you know why? I am like you. I want money coming from the north, south, east, and the west.
Yes.
I want to wake up, to dollar bills in my account.
Yes.
That
Yes.
that's it. And that's how you do that.
Yes.
By not relying on one thing. I always said, even when I was working a job, I always had usually a few of them anyway, because I
Mhm.
was never a person to rely on one.
Mhm.
If I didn't have a few jobs, I had a job and I had a side hustle, and I was
Mhm.
doing something else,
Mhm. Mhm.
selling Avon, doing Amway, all these other things, Herbalife.
Making your jewelry. Yes.
Yeah, making my jewelry. I used to write poems and print them off on pretty paper and find some little cute frames out of the Dollar Tree and sell those like for Mother's
Uh-huh.
Day and Father's Day and all this stuff, because I would always be writing poems and stuff. And so I think about that because so many people, especially like when you go in these coaching programs and all that stuff, oh, well, you're just doing too many things. You need to just do one thing.
Nope.
No, no, no.
I've had people say that to me too often. And I was like, no, I'm not one of anything. You
Yeah.
can't just let's
Put
say
me in
my
a
dessert.
box.
Yeah, you just want to put me, I only want to talk to you about dessert novellas, that aspect of me, or my Roxanne, that aspect, or my podcast. And I was like, no, I am all of them. That's a different representative that lives in me that
Yes,
steps forward. When I tell my Roxanne stories, that's a different version. When I do my dessert novella, it's still me. It's just
yes,
a different aspect. But I am not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You remember
yes,
those?
yes,
I'm
I
not gonna
do.
just I'm not gonna deny aspects of myself because it's not pleasing or appealing to certain
Because
people.
it's a problem for you.
That's on you. They ain't got nothing to do with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way. We're very alike in that way because I'm like, nah, what that got to do with me? Because I was that person too in my family, as I live
Yeah.
on the West Coast, my family's on the East Coast,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it's pretty much always been like that. It's like, nah, no, I don't, why do I care what you think? And it took me a long time to get to that place where I was really settled in it, because my mom always used to say, when I was a kid, kids would say, I would say, oh, well, she's talking about me. My grandma used to say, they talked about Jesus and look at him.
I
And
heard
my
that
mama,
all my life. Yes,
and my
yes.
mama used to say, if are they doing anything for you? Are they paying your bills? Are they, buying you clothes or food or anything, doing anything for you? Then why do you give a fuck what they say? So I grew up like that. So I
Mhm.
knew, and we go through times and periods and twists and stuff like that where we try to twist into these boxes and mold ourselves into people's ideas of us and all this other type of stuff. But I love the fact that you are not doing that, and you're also writing something for us, which is
Yes.
amazing because most of it is written for 12-year-olds and
Yeah.
and
The
18-year-olds
youngsters, the
and
youngsters
20-year-olds.
who will
No life.
believe anything. And it's not dismissing them, because I was there. I was
Right.
young.
We were
I
all there.
wanted all of that stuff. I wanted someone to offer me the kiss like Snow White got. I wanted all of those trappings, but that never showed up for me. And when I finally made peace, well, I'll write my own fairy tale. But I'm gonna have
Absolutely.
coffee be the star. And I said, that's gonna put a different twist on everything. So coffee's coming to life and telling you, I said it's whispering a love story to you out in the universe. It's whispering. Now, if you grab it, just like when God talks to each spirit, good, bad, or indifferent, when God talks to you, sometimes my mother used to say this all the time, God is never the strongest voice in the room. It's always the quiet and the silent. It's like a whisper.
That's right.
And it just cozies right up to you and goes straight to the heart of the matter. Why don't you consider such and such such? Because that's how it showed up for me. And once I stopped struggling and worrying about what people thought about me, I was like, oh, I said, oh, I'm putting on my imagination crown and I'm a
Hmm.
fairy godmother. And then that's how the stories they just flowed. And
Yeah.
then it was like, ooh, that was me. And when I looked at the book, I said, this is my baby. I'm giving her, allowing the world to experience her now, good, bad, or indifferent. You can pick her apart if you want to, but don't get mad because I grabbed the dream. I grabbed what God had said to me and I committed it to paper. And I was like, okay, God, okay. I stopped struggling. Be like, okay. So,
Wow. That's what I'm talking about. So we're gonna land this plane.
okay.
It has been such a ride, and I am so excited. So, what I want you to do is share with the people where they can connect with you, and then share how they can get a copy of your book. And all of those things will be in the show notes, so they'll be able to click on your links and stuff that you sent.
Mhm.
So, but I want you to tell the people where they can get a hold of your book, how they can connect with you, so that, if somebody else wants to interview you or anything like that, they have opportunity, they see you here. So let the people know how they can connect with you and how they can get a copy of that amazing book.
Well, for my latest book, Coffee Fairy Tales, you can go to coffeefairytales.com. The book has its own website, and
Mm,
you get to encounter and experience all 7 different coffees. It gives you a summary. It allows you to really see and get a backstage pass of what's going on. And this is just the first offering. Like I said, this is just volume 1. And there's going to be accessories that go along with the book.
mm.
So keep an eye out for companion pieces. That's what I call them, companion pieces. So coffeefairytales.com. But my author name is Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. So you can Google me. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm sorry, not Twitter, Threads, and
X.
TikTok. And yeah, X, whatever. I'm there. So there is a social presence for me. And if by chance you wish to contact me pertaining to an interview, because I love allowing Coffee Fairy Tales to have her own life, because now that she's birthed out into the universe, I'm like, go on, girl, go on, because she's got strong legs. She's like, I can do it for you. And I was like, oh, do it for me, girl. Let's go. Let's go. So
Love
she's
it.
got strong legs.
Love it. Love it. She's like me.
Like me. She's got strong, solid legs. And she was like, I can stand on my own. I don't need anything or anybody. I can just stand by myself. And all six of my friends, because like I said, I'm in the book too, but all six of my friends trusted themselves with me. You know, they gave themselves to me and told me that I can do whatever I desired to do with them because I was afraid. But then I was like, I have nothing or no one to fear. So, okay, God. Okay. So then when the coffee fairy tales were born, I was like, well, I'm going to put myself in it. This is me as my character because I'm the last one in the book.
Very nice. Colombian house blend. Love it. Love it.
Thank you. So you get to encounter all of them. They're telling you a love story that's happened to them. These are all people that are middle age that have battle scars. Nobody gets to get out of the stories without being scathed. It's going to be something because sometimes love shows up for a minute. Sometimes she hangs out for a while, or sometimes she passes you by like, that's not your lot. That's not the path that you're going to walk. It'll still be love, but it won't be that romantic type of love sometimes. And sometimes you just have to make peace with whatever the love is that
That's
shows
right.
up. You know, you have to make peace with it and figure if this is going to be enough for you. And if it's not, you're going to have to find something else because that hunger is going to be put on display.
Mm,
Good or indifferent. It's
mm.
going to be put on display. So either you're going to show it willingly or it's going to manifest in anger, resentment, animosity, jealousy. You know, when it's boiled down, it's the same road. It's just people are not, they won't allow love to speak to them in the language which they are used to or that they desire. Then
Yeah.
they become bitter and become
Mhm.
mad and be like,
Yes.
well, I'd rather destroy everything than to allow love to
Love to
pass
come
me by.
in. Yes, yes. You speaking my language. Yes, yes. So much. So much. Um, yeah. It's like love is just such a beautiful thing. And the way that you speak of it and the way that it comes through the coffees. Because I read, what did I read? The dessert novella.
Mhm,
And that
mhm.
was amazing. I loved it. But I can't wait to get this one because yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to take my time and digest it.
Coffeefairytales.com. Just find out what you like. And some people love coffee with all of the other additives, and some people just like plain, simple coffee. So
Hmm.
we got any and everything that you could possibly dream of is inside the stories. And if I hadn't dreamed of it as of yet, like I said, this is only volume one. Volume two is positioning themselves in my mind because I even have a gentleman that told me he wants to be the face of in my next book. He said, this is such a clever idea that I would like to be the face in your next book. And this was an actor in Hollywood. And I just sat there like,
Wow.
he was like, yeah, I want to be the face. He said, because I'm the real blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
Okay.
let's exchange information. So, we exchange information. And I said, are you serious? He said, I'm deadly serious. He said, I love this concept. I can't believe nobody's got you yet, but just hold on. He said, this is clever. He said, I have never heard anything like this before. And he just kept looking at my book. And then he was looking at me. And then he just kept saying, you? I said, yeah, I know. I know what you think you see, but I'm more than that.
Yes.
So don't get caught up in what you think you see. And I had to stop putting the limitations on my imagination So that's
Yes.
why I wear a crown now. So
Yes.
it's like, oh, you're talking to a goddess. I'm,
Mm,
I'm a fairy godmother. I
I
grant
love
wishes.
it.
I
I
grant
love it.
wishes. So I am not a wish. I grant wishes. So if
Mm.
that's all you think you see, that's on you. I'm more than
Man, you are a whole ass vibe, and I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that you've come back to talk about it because this, oh my goodness, I'm just, it's just a pleasure to know you.
Well, Tammy, I thank you so much for even allowing me to have the platform to speak about coffee fairy tales. And I was telling all my friends, I even told people today, I can't stay here and talk with you. I've got to get home and get dressed because I'm doing a podcast with Tammy Morrison. And so, straight out of Savannah. So I welcome it because I had so much fun the last time we spoke,
Yeah.
the first of the year. That
Mhm.
was very because I think I was working on Coffee Fairy Tales when I spoke the
Yep.
last time.
You were. Yep.
Now the baby has been birthed and she's here and she's got good legs. She was
Yeah.
like, "Come on, mama, let's go." So
Yeah, because we had already talked. We were like,
mhm.
definitely have to come back. And I was like, definitely have to come back. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this. And you guys, if you want to get something that's going to knock your socks off, make sure you grab that Coffee Fairy Tales from Miss Camille St. Charles, Mississippi.
And go to my other website for Camille St Charles Mississippi.com and you get to experience, I think, 7 or 8 of my books there. It gives you a link to my dessert novella podcast so you can hear me tell a naughty story, or you can secure a copy of my dessert novella podcast, the cookbook. So, and my Roxanne series. So, I'm doing the thing because when I die, I'm gonna die used up. I'm like, okay, God, I got it all out of me. You won't have the luxury to say you took it with you. Nope. I'm putting it out there now. So,
That's absolutely awesome. And it's such an inspiration when you think about it to the younger kids, because people think that when you get 50, your life is over.
oh,
But you know what?
just
When you get
starting.
50, you on your second
Woo,
act.
really. And it's
You
like a
know?
pivot. You're
Yes,
pivoting and be like, I've done it. I know what you're talking about, but let me show you a different way, or let me tell you something I wish someone would have told me years
yes, yes,
about holding on and the dreams and love and all this other
yes,
stuff. It was trial and error
yes,
for me.
yes. It really is. So, thank you so much for coming on. And thank
You,
y'all
Tammy.
for listening and for watching.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes, so we're gonna probably see Miss Camille St. Charles, Mississippi again because
You'll see me on social media.
she's gonna
If
do
Yeah,
something else and she's gonna
yes,
come back to the show. But
yes.
you can also contact her with all of her links. They'll be in the show notes. And just like you said, you can Google her as well. So
Mhm, mhm.
thank y'all for hanging out with us. It's
Thank
been
you. Bye
so
bye.
much fun.
That was nice.
It was.
Okay. Bye bye.
Hope that you have enjoyed Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. She was amazing with her coffee fairy tales. Y'all have got to grab that copy. I'm getting ready to grab mine. So make sure that you follow her and look at her links and stuff that are in the show notes. And then also, if you are looking to come and share your story on Straight Out of Savannah, please reach out to me on whatever platform you are listening to or watching. And then also make sure that you like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform that you are listening or viewing this. And also, if you are wanting to get a session from me, because I do healing sessions, I also do mentoring sessions. If you are in your spiritual awakening journey, reach out to me on whatever um, place that you are listening or viewing this. And you can also go on my website at https colon / tammymorrison.com. And that will also be in the show notes as well. So thank you so much for hanging out with us on Straight Out of Savannah. Bye now.